This most recent Nintendo Direct finally proved three major things for me with Nintendo and this system. One, that the Nintendo Switch has the best game library of all time for Nintendo platforms and has a case for best overall library. Two, Nintendo will probably be doing cross-gen, as they probably aren't going to ditch the Nintendo Switch once Switch 2 comes out, and we'll get into that a bit more because of some of the announcements. And three, this Nintendo Direct was better than I originally thought after the show, and please allow me to explain why. But before we get into that, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch and RPG videos first. Now, what I've done is that I went back and I looked at all the trailers, downloaded all of them, looked at them at the best quality I could when it comes to my monitor and everything. YouTube compression is YouTube compression. Went back and compiled into two different categories for myself when it comes to the overall show and why I had a bit of a change of heart when looking through. And I put it into major announcements and good announcements. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't some good or major announcements for you that you felt are bigger or anything. I'm just going off of what I'm rating the show now that I got a chance to watch the show over again a couple times at this point, go through each and every trailer and kind of segment things and take it all in. And I feel that this is obviously the better way to say exactly how you feel once you've been able to digest everything and take all of it into account. Major announcements, good announcements, but more than anything, gameplay and release dates. These are the two things that I think the reason why Nintendo still has a bit of a leg up when it comes to presentations, because nobody else has been able to match the gameplay and release dates pace that Nintendo has for first party software. Now let's go ahead and get right into it here. Let's start off with the first announcement. I'm going to go in order. This is the major announcements, then I'll briefly go over the good announcements and my new score for it. Now, for those who didn't see my live stream, I did end up giving the show a C plus or so, right around there, C plus. So let's go ahead and get into everything here. Mario and Luigi Brothership. This game is coming out on November 7th, and it's a brand new Mario and Luigi game. A lot of people felt that this series was cooked after Alpha Dream went out of business, but Nintendo hired a lot of the former Alpha Dream staff, and plus Nintendo has had liaisons working with them, so Nintendo would know how to make this type of game, and of course they could hire the people who know how to make this type of game because they've been working on it for a decade or however long they've been working on Mario and Luigi games, more than that. So it makes complete sense, although it shocked me. I didn't expect it, but it makes complete sense for them to bring back Mario and Luigi, the first new game in over, or more like nearly a decade, 9 years or so. And this is incredibly exciting because this game just looks awesome. I do like Mario and Luigi. I've been a fan of the series, but not the biggest fan. I've always liked Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario a bit more, but this one with the art style and what they're doing just looks incredible. So I'm really looking forward to Mario and Luigi Brothership, which I kept on calling Brotherhood, but either way, Brothership, Brotherhood, both would sound good. Next up is Fantasian Neo Dimension Winter. I have this as another major title only because Square Enix is going to be publishing this one. It's multi-platform, so it doesn't get as much points, but it's still cool that they announced it at the Nintendo Direct. But Square Enix and Mistwalker, Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, and all of his legacy and history that he had at Square Enix, they are working together for the first time in decades to bring this game with a bunch of cool updates and additions to consoles. So this was a phenomenal announcement to put into Nintendo Direct, and I feel that this solidified this game probably being a success on console, having it in the Nintendo Direct jam-packed in between all these other cool announcements. People are going to take notice of this game way more than if they didn't have it at the Nintendo Direct and if it was just a random announcement or at a different showcase. So I feel that it was very important to get it announced at a Nintendo Direct, and it's really cool that it's going to be coming this winter. So this is a historic type situation when it comes to Hironobu Sakaguchi, Mistwalker, and Square Enix. I love to see it. It's just a heartwarming story overall. Now, next up, I want to get into Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. This is coming out on January 16th, 2025. So a little bit of a knockoff here just because it's next year. I felt that maybe that could have been a good summer game as it's a HD port or an HD remaster of the original Wii game, but the game is incredibly good, and it's something that I did predict that Nintendo could do. I think that probably not a brand new Donkey Kong game for the Switch when at this point, for some reason, people, not even for some reason, there's a reason why people love Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch. So many people missed it. It's essentially a new Donkey Kong game for millions upon millions of gamers. So Nintendo just sold that one for pretty much the whole generation. But now they can sell this one. So you have Tropical Freeze, you have Returns, and then they're going to hit us with the new Donkey Kong on the Nintendo Switch 2, or it might even be a cross-gen title. I do think that is possible for the next Donkey Kong game. We'll see exactly what they want to do with it, but Donkey Kong Country Returns is still a phenomenal game, and I think that the best thing about this is the fact that you won't have to use the motion controls if you're trying to play it natively on your Nintendo Wii. The motion controls are mandatory, even though there should be classic controller support. So that's really good. I can't wait to go through with this one. I played this co-op with my brother all the way through back in the day, and it's going to be super fun to be able to hopefully play it with him again at some point, and of course play the game myself on stream and everything. I love Donkey Kong games, so this is also another really good major announcement as well, as it's a major franchise. Next up, let's talk about Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake and Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. We finally got a confirmation on this. It was kind of leaked or rumored beforehand when it comes to 1 and 2, but still seeing the announcement and seeing how much better it's looking, which I'm thinking it's the Nintendo Switch version, so it's even going to maybe look better on the PlayStation 5 and PC and all that, but the Switch version is looking really good. I love what they've done with the battle camera and how they kind of shifted things, and the HD 2D graphics look spectacular. It looks a step above even what Octopath Traveler 2 did, and those were really good. So I love what they're doing here. The game is coming out this year, November 14th, 2024 for Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, and 2025 for Dragon Quest 1 and 2. Plus, I learned something that I never even knew before, but the order that they want you to when it comes to story-wise to play it in is Dragon Quest 3, 1, then 2. So it kind of makes sense that they're releasing 3 first, then 1 and 2 later. So makes sense. Great announcement. Game looks awesome, so you have to give some extra love there for Dragon Quest showing strong on the Nintendo Switch platform. Next up, I want to talk about another major announcement here. That's NSO. People loved NSO stuff. I'm not as big on NSO, but I realize the impact that NSO has had. You got Perfect Dark, Turok, Legend of Zelda, the Four Swords game, and Metroid Zero Mission, all available with online play for the games that support multiplayer. That is just really good. Zero Mission for me is just awesome. I love Zero Mission. I've only played it one time. I've never replayed it, so I think I'm definitely going to go back through and replay Zero Mission. I think that game is awesome using the Game Boy Advance engine. It's so smooth and the art style is well done. It's got great extra content after you beat the game with the Zero Suit Samus missions. It's a phenomenal game, so I'll probably go back and check that one out. But for everybody else that loves the N64, having Turok and Perfect Dark right then and there, and Microsoft, the Rare game, is really cool to see as well. And then of course more Zelda is always good for the fans out there, especially classic Zelda games. Now next up, I want to talk about something that blew me away in my reaction, and it's a major announcement for sure, and that is Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. Once again, this is coming out in 2024, and it looks so good at this point. Here are all the games that you get. You get X-Men, Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, X-Men versus Street Fighter, and the Punisher just thrown in there randomly as well. So this is great. People have been wanting Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to come back, and not only did they give you Marvel, baby, you got all of it. You got so much, and to have this with rollback netcode and digital plus physical coming out this year is just a great announcement. And I think that this art and what they've shown off is just so cool. So once again, having that announcement there, that was big when it comes down to it. Portable Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that you can actually own on cartridge on the Nintendo Switch. That is way too good to pass up, and you'd be crazy not to pick that up for collector's purposes, considering what happened with Marvel vs. Capcom before in the past with the licensing and all of that. So this is a great announcement, such a good announcement. Now next up, I want to talk about another major announcement, and that is Super Mario Party Jamboree. They just said we're gonna call it whatever the heck we feel like. Jamboree on October 7th, 2024. A massive Mario Party game, and I'm not the biggest Mario Party guy, but I always play the Mario Party games. I've been playing them for decades now at this point, and this game is interesting because I consulted with a lot of my Mario Party connoisseurs out there, and they told me that this is the real deal with 7 boards, maybe even DLC in the future, who knows, but 7 boards at this point, over 110 mini games, and it has 20 player online. This is poised to be, at least Nintendo says it here, the biggest Mario Party game ever. And based off of what they've shown with the islands and the different stuff that they're bringing back and all the different mini games and the online mode of 20 plus people, plus the normal online mode and the boards that they're talking about here, this is going to be a massive type of Mario Party games. People need to also remember that Super Mario Party, the original game on the Nintendo Switch, sold 20 plus million copies. So there's going to be a lot of people looking forward to picking this one up, following in the Super Mario Party line of games. Now, we need to get to the next thing here, guys, and that is something that I was very excited about. I can't believe they did it. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, September 26, 2024. This game will be here before you know it. Once again, I will make this an emphasis or talk about it more, but release dates for the big games, all of these titles have release dates or windows when it comes down to it, and people can get their hands on it, a lot of it in 2024. But September 26th, a brand new Zelda game coming out in a few months that you can play, but you play as Princess Zelda. Link has been taken away, he's been dragged somewhere, been captured by Ganon, and now you play as Princess Zelda, and you have all these cool kind of pseudo Breath of the Wild type of manufacturing and conjuring up different types of items that you can spawn into the world to solve puzzles and solve things the way that you want to. So you can't always, I guess, be stuck at some place. There'll probably be some areas where you have to do specific things, but there's going to be multiple ways for you to get around it. And it looks like it's more fluid when it comes to the movement and when it comes to the performance of the game than what we saw with Link's Awakening, because it's definitely using that same engine and everything. And I'm guessing it's Grezzo on the case there. This is just so good to see overall, and it looked great. People have been wanting a game to where you play as Princess Zelda for decades now. People have been saying, please, let's be able to play as Princess Zelda. Maybe you have to reverse it. You got to save Link now. So this makes sense. It's so good. It looks good. I think it's going to play awesome, and we're going to be able to get our hands on it. Plus, it's launching with a Hyrule Edition Nintendo Switch Lite. So that is new hardware when it comes to new, as in a different model of the Switch Lite. So I got to get that, obviously. You got to get the special edition Zelda consoles when they come out, because those are always worth way more afterwards. So I'm definitely picking that up. Really good announcement overall. And last but not least, for the major announcements, this is the 9th major announcement that I've counted here. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We got an official title, and we got a launch window with 2025. Once again, this is very good, and I'm guessing that all of these games are going to launch within a year of now. At this point, within a year of now, it's going to all launch. Metroid Prime 4 looked fantastic. I got some Xbox and PlayStation fans that I saw saying, is this Switch 2 stuff? Because they didn't see what Nintendo said beforehand about there not being any Switch 2 stuff and all that, but no, this is Switch 1. It's running on Switch 1, and what you can tell that they're doing with this game is that one, they've invested a lot of resources into making this game, and two, they've got good talent that can take advantage of the hardware. Not every Nintendo Switch game has a lot of money put into it overall. Nintendo's first party games, yeah, but a lot of people think that it's something different because you just don't see a lot of games with this type of art style and what they've done. I think the game looks fantastic, and that's with YouTube compression and the game not being finished. It's definitely going to look better. But one thing that I do like what they've done, it seems like it's actually built for an HD system instead of taking it and kind of trying to adapt it to one, because every other Metroid Prime is an SD game at heart. Even if you look at Metroid Prime Remastered, it's a GameCube game and they're putting it on the Nintendo Switch, but this is a game that's actually built for HD, so it looks way better in my opinion. And the HUD, and I would just say like the field of view and the visor and the size of everything isn't going to be as nausea inducing for me, because I have trouble with Metroid Prime and other first person shooter games just having nausea, but it didn't look like it was going to be bad. It really looked like it was going to be okay based off of what I saw there. So I'm hoping it does work out that way once I get the game. But overall, there was a number of things. I analyzed the trailer as I was looking through, and I saw that, hey, you're going to be able to potentially do different types of routes to engage enemies so certain things don't happen. In that first trailer that they showed, you can see that you could clearly go out in a morph ball and engage the space pirates that are about to bust open through the door and fight the Galactic Federation, but they took the long route, and then you see them busting through the door. So it looks like this game is going to give you different type of choices and different type of things. And then they showed the huge kicker, Silas, there at the end, now being one of the main villains, or perceived to be a main villain, with Metroids and space pirates around him. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. After what happened with Ravenbeak in Metroid Dread, having the menacing bosses or main villains is just so good to see. That's something that the Metroid series has always been pretty good at, dating all the way back to Ridley and everything. So this is just awesome overall. But I think the biggest thing with the name of it, with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, you're going to be going beyond what any other Metroid game has done. And I think they teased that a little bit with what they showed after the reveal of Silas there, where it kind of just pans out and you see a different type of environment. I think that this game has a lot more to it than what they showed, and that was just a nice little taste of the first gameplay. So you can see the visor, the new graphics, the locations, the bigger or more epic scale of people fighting and everything. So very, very good. Excited about this one, and I think that it's probably going to obviously launch, not even probably, it's going to launch on the Nintendo Switch 1. I just don't know what they're going to do and have it be a cross-gen title, or just have it on the Nintendo Switch and then later release it for an update or a Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game, because I do think that they're planning for the game to be on the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, and making some graphics updates and everything. So we'll see how that works out. Now, that was the reason why, if you look at everything with this Nintendo Direct, man, it was loaded with a lot of stuff. And there were other games that I didn't talk about, but some of the good announcements, these are just like the minor or other announcements that I found to be okay. You have stuff like Fairy Tail, you have the new Metroidvania IP called Mio Memories in Orbit, you have Farmagia, which is like a Pikmin monster battling farming game, which is a console exclusive. It's going to be on PC. That's coming out November 1st, 2024. Phantom Brave, brand new Phantom Brave game by NIS, that's coming out 2025. You have the Game of the Year nominee out there a couple years ago with Stray in holiday 2024. Ace Attorney Investigations Collection on September 6th, and that has an exclusive physical edition only on the Nintendo Switch here in the US. Romancing Saga 2, which looked really good. It's called Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven. That's coming out October 24th of this year. And a brand new IP called The 100 Line Last Defense, a strategy RPG adventure game type of hybrid that I thought looked pretty cool as well. So there were a number of announcements here with release dates, with exact dates, with, hey, you're going to be able to get it next year. There wasn't any like, oh, well, we're just not going to show you release dates. So overall, between the major and the minor or good announcements, there was a lot of good stuff. And I think that if you total up everything, especially once again with gameplay and release dates and the big IPs, you had Zelda, you had Metroid, you had Mario, you obviously had NSO stuff, you had some classic third-party stuff thrown in there, some other third-party things, double A. We're looking at this at probably a solid B for me now. At this point, I had it at a C, C+. I'm definitely going with a solid B. So overall, phenomenal show. I definitely had to up the score now that I looked over everything and it wasn't kind of going on the rush of watching live and thinking about other things and seeing the chat and kind of managing everything. So overall, great Nintendo Direct. New score, a B at this point now that I went over everything. So what are your thoughts, guys, when it comes to Nintendo Direct? What were your favorite announcements from the show? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this one here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch and RPG videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.